Okay, we're back for the final part in this response to Colonel Halt from Larry. Larry, you okay to carry on?
So far, the heart's still beating.
Okay, excellent.
My head's done in with this guy. I mean, it's just wow. This is so
Okay.
easy. Give me something hard. I mean, it's just
Well, let's start you with a softball then. Let's start you with a softball. Let's talk soil samples.
oh,
He criticises the soil sample analysis done by Peter Robbins. It's he goes on to state basically you get those kind of results when you just burn some stuff in your backyard. You want to tell us about soil samples?
well, he obviously didn't read Peter's book, Halt in Woodbridge, which actually destroys him on what they said that in Woodbridge also. It must be his party piece he does, as we say in Liverpool. Some people play spoons. My thing on that is Peter Robbins didn't do a soil analysis. It was done by Matthew Moniz, who was at that time with Springborn Environmental out of Wareham, Massachusetts. In fact, he did a couple of them, and in Halton Woodbridge. But with you see, with the arrogance of John Hanson and Charles Halton, these internet folks is, and the arrogance is the word. They don't bother to don't bother me with the facts, as Friedman says. Stan Friedman says. Peter never conducted them; he collected them, and they were analyzed by a real environmental analyst through whatever they use. It's all broken down in Halt and Woodbridge. Halt should get his ear around it because he's sounding like a clown. The results are what they are, and you cannot turn burning garbage in your yard soil into a form of glass in one area down to a 3-foot depth. In fact, the analysts and others went back there to conduct even further research, and it is not just one test. And that is the most ludicrous, unscientific. There's a lot of non-science going on with him, but he's pandering to an audience where that's just fine. It's absolute nonsense. He should, not him. He knows the deal. Uh, People should educate themselves to it. I didn't do it. I wouldn't know f all about soil analysis. It was done by an accredited environmental lab, and more than once, and by a real guy who's done a full report in Halt Woodbridge uh, countering Colonel Halt, and it was written directly to him. I don't have that book here, but people should get it. It's on Amazon, and it's worth every penny. Certainly more than Halt and Woodbridge. It's you won't even want to bother. Next.
Okay. Now we're going to go a little bit harder. We're going to be talking about documents and fake stuff and that kind of thing. There's a couple of
Oh yeah,
questions here.
yeah.
The name Lee Swain mean anything to you?
Yeah, he was our squadron's first shirt, who was not a security policeman. He's now deceased, by the way. And he was the controller. He would post people to flight and whatever. I don't know what the full role of the first shirt is. I know who he was. He was from New Hampshire also.
Okay, he says that you've got documents where the names are spelt wrong. Both names twice have been spelt wrong. He's hinting that you've faked the documents. Your
Right.
assignment document. Do you want to
Okay,
elaborate on that?
I have that here. Hold on. I suspected that. Yeah, here it is. That's Lee Swain's signature. He was our first shirt. It says Lee Swain. Here's the signature. Lee Swain, Senior Master Sergeant, USAF First Sergeant. Well, who else would sign that? And this is a copy from an original from my records. And there's Sergeant Hudson, Swain, Farias, Thornton, and Harold. They were all the training people. This is when you first get there. 81st Security Police Squadron in processing instruction sheet. Now we sat in it was, I think it was in the same security police law enforcement office, right? So we're sitting, if you're missing something, just nod at me here. We're on Skype, folks. So we're all the young guys, the newies, right? Greenhorn sitting there. were issued this. That's Lee's signature, and it is spelled correctly, unless he didn't know how to spell his own name. It's not my handwriting at all, never has been. Up here, welcome, you are assigned to D flight. This is all things on buses leaving the parking lot at 9:35. This is on the have alert gear ready every night. These are notes here that I was told to write on here by Lee Swain. All of us were told instructions. Some guys run C flight, some were going to A, but we still had the courses to finish. Your commander is Major Ziegler, and your flight chief in the training phase was Senior Master Sergeant Farias. Their duty phone numbers are 2175, etc. We would like for this period of processing to go as smoothly as possible. In order to accomplish this, you will be required to report to the First Sergeant, Lee Swain, each duty day at 0730 hours. The only exception will be driver's training, which I didn't take on the base. I had a license. This class starts at 0730, and then we got the bus to Woodbridge, I think. So you'll be required to report to the orderly room during your lunch break. If you have any problems during your processing, so after duty hours, contact the LE desk, and that's signed by the man who issued these instructions to us. Frankly, this is my signature down below, acknowledging his instructions. Sorry. Oh, right. These where they're trying to say, oh, that is my handwriting because I'm taking a verbal order from him with 6 other men, his instructions, because he didn't write it for each of us. There were 6 different guys, if not more, that had different instructions. So that's the notes he was telling me to write. Airman Warren, it said, and you're robotic, you're under orders. And this is 2nd of December. Here's my badge number, W0806. Airman Warren will be posted, you're robotic, so I'm Airman Warren, right? I was A1C, actually. But that's him talking, Airman Warren, right? To duty roster, D flight. Intro training begins, and then he's countersigned the instructions down here. Oh, sorry. He's countersigned it again down below. And that is not and never will be. But some of this is the instructions he was telling us to write individually. So all these people going on handwriting analysis, which you need actually, what, I have to hold it up again?
No, carry on talking.
Handwriting analysis that these bozos, gang stalkers are called, because they're trying to kill business reputation, thus will kill the military reputation. And, that's food for morons. In reality, you need the actual documents to hand. It costs thousands of pounds. They've raised 600 that they've probably gone to the pub with from suckers. But where they're trying to dispute, well, that is my handwriting. They've never come to me, and I wouldn't spit on them if they're on fire now, but it's never been an issue. It's never, in Liverpool, we say I wouldn't piss on you if on fire. But that's the story on that, and it's not, unless Lee Swain didn't know how to spell his own name, but he is deceased now. But I knew him quite well. That document exists. I'm happy for Gary Hazeltine. Halt inspected all these. He had no problem with them in '93. This is a game, a shills game. Next.
Okay. Let's talk about Eyes and Lakenheath. Now, apparently there was no need for you to go to Lakenheath to have your eyes looked at because you already had an eye doctor on the base, Lester P. Sharpen. Okay. So he says that there's no way you would have gone to Lakenheath to have your eyes looked at. Let's talk about Eyes and Lakenheath.
Boy, if this was a hockey game, man, this is going to be a shutout. Do they call that in footy? I don't know. I have the actual documents here. We had a small clinic. Eventually, Bentwaters built a hospital on it, but it was being built when I left. Construction phase. These were Quonset huts, the old World War II thing. So we had a clinic. It was very small. The doctor he names, I don't recall him. I can tell you the doctor I did deal with, whose rank I'm not certain of. But so I wouldn't have gone anywhere but on Bentwater. So I had to go to the eye doctor, folks, because I had eye damage after the incident. Now my eyes are shot anyway. And don't buy specs at Poundland. I can tell you they make them worse. But this is the medical appointment. It's reproduced and left at Eastgate. Okay, that's on Bentwaters. There's something redacted here. I don't know what that would have been. That's Dr. Eccles, who I saw, who referred me for further work due to flash burns to my retina, right? This is BW. None of this is my handwriting, by the way. I'll put it up. None of that is my handwriting, okay? These are controlled documents in the Air Force. Like I can't just go in the clinic and go, "Ooh, I got 30 years from now, I'll look good if I grab one of these," right? So I was given that, and it has my social security number. I don't want to show that. This hasn't been redacted. A1C, Lawrence Warren, 81 SPS. If I can get that in there. There you go. That's not my hand.
That's good. Yep.
Okay. Eccles, that's Dr. Eccles. I'm sorry, where is it? Oh, there.
Yep.
I wish I had handwriting that good. And I attended on 2nd February 81. In the U.S. military, that sounds like British dates, but the U.S. military dates the same way, like England, which was hard to get used to back then. At 1300 hours, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I remember the appointment even. And I don't remember telephone number. This was on date issued, and then JB, I don't know who that is, not John Burroughs. And after it says a note here, not my handwriting. There was an enlisted guy that wrote that worked in the clinic. I don't remember his name. Bring all records, something's redacted, full exam, Lakenheath, USAF, ear clinic, and then there's all Air Force kookaroo stuff, letters. Now you'd say, well, he could have taken it. Well, in the Air Force, folks, our base, we have the APO, which is the Air Post Office. So on base, if letters are sent to you, they have U.S. mail stamps on them. It's all sent interbase, right? But it's in the Air Force mail system. Like if I wrote home to my mom, or she wrote to me, it would be APO New York, because that was the Air Post Office designate, not Bentwaters, England. It didn't exist. Now, this here was sent to me, and this is a copy. I have the originals also. And no one's going to get them. I'm going to show you how it came to me. This is the envelope. This is an envelope. Okay, that's how it comes.
Yeah, nice and clear. Yeah.
And it says postage fee, Department of the Air Force, postage paid. And then that, so it's not the whole thing on this copy.
That's all right, we got it. Yep.
Okay, and what that says is Department of the Air Force, USAF Clinic, SGRO, not my handwriting, Bentwaters, England, official business. Down here, and it says local written on the side. And then down here, not in my handwriting at all, is A1C Lawrence Warren.
Yeah, we got that. That's cool.
Over here, it says, and I think it was highlighted by Peter Robbins many years ago, sensitive medical data.
Yep.
That's not my handwriting. And so this was sent to me on base with this. This says, well, what it says, this is 19 January 81. It says from USAF Clinic Bentwaters, subject, referral, medical surgical appointment. Patient concerned, A1C Lawrence Warren, optical red exam. You have appointment for the optical clinic at Lakenheath Hospital on 2nd February at 1300 hours. It is important that you read this letter carefully and completely. It contains specific instructions. We're in the military, folks. That's why you're a robot. It's not like the internet trolls just writing and pulling things out of the air. Everything is controlled. Instructions which must be followed to ensure smooth appointment planning. This appointment has been coordinated as a service to you, our customer. If you need to change or cancel appointment, it is your responsibility to personally call the Lake and Heath Specialty Clinic. Paragraph 1. They require at least 24 hours notice of a cancellation. Please follow the directions in paragraph check below. Amendment 4, at your request, you are scheduled for transportation. I didn't have a car. So to Lake and Heath, the bus leaves Bentwaters Clinic at 0730 hours. Everything seemed to start at 7:30 on that place. On the mornings that we provide transport, you must check in to the ambulance section at the clinic no later than 7:15 hours on the date of your appointment. It says here, records, medical records, hand carried as requested. Please ensure you pick up records in sufficient time prior to your appointment in accordance with the Privacy Act. No audit adult may pick up. Other remarks, bring any previous eye prescriptions. Not in my hand here. That's a note by the doctor. I will try to. Can you see any of that?
Yeah, we got it. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Do you see Halt's thing starting to go down the big ski slope of truth here?
Yeah.
And that is signed by, this is controlled by this guy, whoever, I can't read it backwards.
William M. Waring, yep.
Yeah. Didn't Halt mention Waring?
He never mentioned the name Waring, no.
Okay. He mentioned some name I'm not familiar with. But here, if you see, sorry, A1C, Lawrence Warren.
Yeah, it's all there. It's all clear.
It's not my writing. And these are all controlled documents. So that is disproven, again, what you just quoted, 100-fold. It's over. And yet these are bandied about. Imagine being me, folks, and when you're sitting with going, what the F is going on here? Well, I know what's going on. What's the next disaster?
Okay, while we're on documents, he states that you have a fake degree from the University of Connecticut. He contacted the registrar and they had no record of a Lawrence Warren ever having been at the school.
Right. Thank God that they don't, because I never went to that school. That brings up another thing. My further education was in the state of Connecticut. I know my father got me my student loan, and I that's another story. And I completed it, and I'm not going to name it. However, I have an error here, and it wasn't, in the original edition of Left It Is Gay, and I have to bring Peter into this. I will never do anything to harm my co-author. I have never claimed to go to UConn. I went to basketball games at UConn. I don't think they give you degrees for going to see the Huskies. I've never claimed that at all. My family would even be, never had to fake anything. In fact, I've been very protective of my personal life. The problem is, when we were doing the update of this book, in our original, I didn't have much of a bio. It was all UFO witness thing. And I have much more of a life than that. And I didn't want to be just typecast like Gilligan on Gilligan's Island. The guy Bob Denver was 74 still wearing Gilligan's hat. That's not cool. And so, Peter, I was not on, we were offered a new publisher. We got a new publisher in 2004. And I was married and to my second wife. And we had the opportunity to add 2 new chapters to the book that happened to be in the front for whatever reason. And I wanted to update and change my bio. How I did this was via the telephone, and I have my draft that I read to Peter on the telephone many times because I wanted the musical artists I worked with, which are numerous. Most of my Facebook are people I worked with that played with everybody, not UFO people. Okay, that's why I don't put a lot of this shit on Facebook. And when I said to Peter, I said, let's get, I want people to know I went beyond high school here. And what I said, which is written, I found all this. I have it's the new draft, and all this was done via the telephone. My bio, and I read the artist, and we had a big back and forth. And Connecticut was in the word. Peter went to the University of Bridgeport. Okay. I went to a school south of that and completed it. My first wife actually encouraged me for further education. I'm not a PhD or anything. And in ufology, a lot of people, it's bad enough they call Stan Friedman a doctor. Other people have claimed to be degrees they don't have. I was highly educated in the field, my chosen field. This subject ruined it. And I was damn good at it. And have worked in it. But I completed everything. I'm not going to go into what it is. But my intention, Connecticut is in the word of the school I went to. But UConn isn't the only school in Connecticut, university or higher college or higher education facility. Peter went to Uni of Bridgeport and graduated from there with a fine art, I think, BFA. I went elsewhere, and I have that on the sheet. But talking to Peter, because we had so much to do on the phone, not email, and this taught me a good lesson. Peter wrote University of Connecticut, and that's a fact. And I was more concerned at, BB King being in there, all kinds of things. I wanted to get away from this. When our book came out, the updated version, I just wanted to make sure the artist, it just didn't ding. No one has brought it up. My family would have brought it up, but they didn't. No one did until recently. When Peter sent me a copy of No Record of Me at UConn. I'm like, well, I didn't go to UConn. Where the fuck is this coming from? It's easiest thing to check. What kind of moron, right? Well, I'm the moron that didn't check the verbal exchange I had with Peter numerous times, which Peter, look, the other night, I'm not knocking Peter Robbins at all, but Peter is famous for this kind of, there's a lot of detail when you're trying to remember and quote someone else's life. I'm better doing my own, I've learned. And though Peter did a fine job, I'm not knocking him. But last night on a show, Pete, he's 70, I forget things. He said an incident with his sister happened 40 years ago. And that actually happened in 1961. That's a 16-year gap on that. Is it intentional? No, but he said it as real as can be. It ain't. This was when you try to pass information verbally to someone else. It doesn't get on. My hand up for not checking it. I didn't even realize it till you and me. I went, oh, let me check it. There it was. And that will be corrected. I don't have to, whatever I did after the Air Force has nothing to do with what happened to me in the Air Force. Saying I went to UConn ain't going to get me a job at my age. I couldn't have gotten in UConn with my grades, to be honest with you, anyway. And so that is a mistake on my part and Peter's. It happens. I also said Ronald Reagan was president when the incidents happened. It wasn't. It was Jimmy Carter. Reagan was the incoming the next month. There are details, devil in the detail. Things happen. Your brain goes one way. But no, I didn't intentionally put UConn anywhere because everyone that knows me knows I didn't go to UConn. Except basketball games, which I hate basketball. And so when I can, I will have that removed from the book. Has it done me a favor? No. It would play into the gang mob there or whatever they're called. But that's just a total error by relying on someone else. Where in fact, had I been on email, when I wasn't writing to people on email telling them to lie for me, which never happened, I'm the old school on the blower. And my big concern was have the artists I worked with, I did A&R, all kind of things, have that. So that's an error on our part and on mine. That doesn't reflect well, but I'm not an idiot either because that is not in the first edition of the book. And I certainly didn't go after. So that's how it happened. People can accept it or not. Going to UConn wouldn't have done me any favors with this Bentwaters anyway. I went to a different outfit in Connecticut, which has Connecticut in its title also. So Peter, here's Connecticut. You think of UConn anyway, University of Connecticut. My fault was not. And we fought over it, and then we're dealing with the chapters and the changes. And I think so that's what happened. Hands up. I'm not trying to be Mr. Smarty Pants more than I am. And I know it's played into people. Shame on me. That's a mistake there. Yeah,
Okay,
that will be corrected.
okay. You mentioned chapters and changes there. Alison also mentioned that apparently there was a lot of changes between the old and the new updated version.
Really.
Any particular reasons for the changes, or do you want to elaborate on that? Explain why there's a number of changes between the original book and the updated
I
version.
think Allison should stick with knitting. I mean, she's just as guilty as the rest. She's another one I've taken legal action with for just spewing nonsense. I mean, I have better things to spend money and time on than these people. And I'm being kind. Um, like I just said, we had the opportunity to get a new publisher. We were robbed by our first one. I mean, to the hugely. And you want to talk about corruption and fraud? Look at publishing. I mean, I'm from the days of the real publishing, not this shit. No. And Peter and I had the option to write a new chapter each. Okay. I'm not happy how it was placed in the book for some reason at the front. There is nothing changed at all. There are a huge gap between. I mean, I wrote a lot of my chapters in my late 20s. I wanted to fuck off right after I wrote them, send them to Peter. Peter got things wrong all the time, and then there was big fights. It took 11 years. You got a partnership. Lennon and McCartney used to battle over fucking shit. Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis did. Any partnership, you get two people, you get two egos, you get two uh, points of view clashing. And then, if you tell me something, I'm not going to get it in the context that you lived in. And I've learned that in life. And Peter's sadly been stuck with trying to promote my point of view. And you don't always get it right, like the Yukon thing. Okay. But no, my new chapter, as far as I know, and it's here, was expanding on how I think I call Halt a hero in it. And that's another thing with Yukon that's going to be removed because, I was trying to be kind and, I've always shown respect to him. I have none now. I don't wish ill harm to him, but I mean, I just wrote things as an older guy in his 40s, more about family life and about things, as a father by then. And, looking back, and I was trying to be very kind about things. Nothing was changed at all. Nothing was changed at all. It was just a later perspective. Peter didn't change anything at all. So she should go back and drop the knitting needles and reread the book. But I don't expect she needs to.
Are any of the photos in the book photoshopped, faked? Are they
And
all
left at
genuine?
Eastgate?
Left at Eastgate.
Well, if anyone owns the book, you got to understand our book came out in 1997. Uh, they're black and white. They're not, it's like when I say it's a shitty photo section, we could have put more effort into, I have far better relevant pictures that could have gone in the book. Nothing is photoshopped. It didn't, I don't believe photoshopping existed in the 90s, mid 90s. You got to understand, our book was in production a year and a half before it ever hit the shelves. And I wasn't on a computer until 5 years ago. Peter, we had a thing that Albert Bouchard from Blue Oyster Cult built and a guy, Peter Bertine, a little word processor Peter used. Peter didn't Photoshop nothing. I didn't. There's, anyone that wants to inspect and look, I have the originals. They were all taken in the time. Uh, I mean, I would make myself prettier, but I didn't have to. I was gorgeous back then. I think what he wants to think is that the alert condition sign, of course, I have the original picture and those that follow, and he would like that to be photoshopped. But sadly, folks, it isn't. I wouldn't be good on photoshopping at all. And where those issues come up is that a person I trusted when I wasn't around downloaded all of my personal pictures from a computer they had available to them, popped them into her own computer that I had given to her as a gift, and has manipulated photos henceforth. And that can be proven and will be in court, and she's going to have to answer to it. But no, the pictures aren't photoshopped. I wouldn't know how to do it at all. I wouldn't do it. There's no need. I do it now though with my face because I'm old. You know,
Okay.
right now I wear clown wigs and makeup. I hope you like it.
All right. Talking about faking stuff and so on and so forth. So,
Sure.
as the show started to come to an end, Holt alluded to Alison that she'd obviously been fooled for a long period of time by you. She
Wow.
concurred,
I,
but then she
I
said
don't
you'd
even know
obviously
her.
she'd said she'd seen the light and saw you for what you were, and that more people were coming round to that.
Thank you.
Anything you want to add to that in terms of perhaps putting out threats against women and such like, which was mentioned on the show?
Oh wow. Um, yeah, I've never threatened a woman, but what I did say is when my family, myself, and other speakers in their SBI, I hear they're now I'm seeing the history of Alison's little Scottish clog dancing organization. I think they throw what's the K-bar, the K-bar. They're sensitive up that way, but in reality, no, we were threatened by an invisible Facebook person, not even the person some people would think. And I just simply said, and I'll say it again, you make a threat toward me, and it was a general statement, make a threat toward me, worse, my family, my friends. See, I'm a loyal sort of guy. I'll hurt you. I'll hurt you before you hurt me or my loved ones. That's who I am. I don't care who you are. I don't even know if the person that made that threat was a male or female. I just said I'd get him before the security did. And this was a gig that they already had pre-planned to fuck with me up there. We know what went on. As far as I fooled her for long, I did 2 radio shows with her. I met her once. I have pictures of her trying to hang on to me. Like I said earlier in this broadcast, people like her, and she's not alone, to get a higher profile for whatever their agenda, be it good, be it bad, be it neutral, attach themselves. And because I'm a dumb fuck half the time, I try to be friendly. Well, see, I know them, and that yet they may have an agenda that is not very nice. She's proven herself with others, not just her. But I don't, I fooled her. She's of no consequence to me other than the slander and defamation she's put forth, and the fact that I had to send a legal cease and desist and a warning. My lawyer told them that's only the first stage, and they continue, and she'll have to come from court. This is real. It's a real thing. So, you know, I don't know her. She seems to want to know me. She will know me. But no, I did say that. I won't let anyone make threats to me. And I just don't play easy like that. I'm not a lay down Sally, as they say.
Okay.
I'm not a guy to fuck with, as they say. And I'll protect my family and my friends, even with my life. But I know what brotherhood means. It's kind of a oft used word, but not understood. And I learned more about brotherhood when I left the military than ever went in with him.
Okay. Coming on to one more point about fake and fraud stuff. Holt
I'm busy.
alludes
Yeah,
to you having an association with certain individuals
yeah,
who came under the scrutiny of the FBI in the mid 90s
yeah,
in an operation known as Operation Bullpen,
yeah.
which was an operation against faked memorabilia scams in the memorabilia industry, and that
Oh, yeah.
you did that's why you left the United States. You did a run
Oh, no.
to get
Get out of
away from either the FBI or the bad guys who were coming looking for you. Do you know about Operation Bullpen, and were you
First of all,
involved in any way,
first
shape,
of
or
all, I
form?
am a bad guy. I know all the bad guys outside of memorabilia. You know why? I know all the bad guys and the good guys. Let's start with Operation Bullpen, New York State-based investigation into sports memorabilia. You know how in England they have soccer is very popular here. In memorabilia, and I have been in, and I'm sure people have seen this stuff. And have it misrepresented, and ex-girlfriends that because I said they own a lot of a certain person's property have come out and tried to some vindictive broads, but one famous I won't even mention. And these are for other things. I have a new book I'm going to do. But no, I don't deal. I never dealt in sporting memorabilia. They had to regulate it because there is a lot of fraud in memorabilia. My specialty, because I was in the music business, was because I was a collector of rock and roll memorabilia. I'm not going to name certain people I've dealt with, including major organizations, to include authenticating. I went to an FBI run handwriting this is why I laugh at this crowdfunding thing, school on forgery and all that, because you invest a lot of money in it. I've spent a lot of money. I'm not going to get into money. And I've made a lot of money. I have never had recourse from the industry I was in. I was never in the sporting. I think I had Bobby Orr's autograph when I was a kid from the Boston Bruins, but that was given to me by Bobby. The bullpen involved a few guys. I don't know. I never knew them because I never dealt in that industry that's a very segmented, specialized industry. I never dealt with it. I remember when it happened. We had a big outcry in my area where we had hoped that the or the music memorabilia or entertainment, I guess would be better, would be regulated also because fraud is rife in it. That's why you have to have to know what you're dealing with, provenance, history. I used to deal first of source, either with the artists themselves or the estate of. And I supplied memorabilia that is highly regarded also in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and many other. I'm not going to say certain things because things get used. There's a lot of people looking at these people now because they're threatening their investments, not just for me, they're threatening the industry. So no, I've never been a forger. I have never been part of the operation, whatever. I moved to England, which is no one's fucking business why I even take a shit yesterday. But in reality, they want to make it their business. The reality is, I was very familiar with England. I married someone from here. I have a son who's 16, who's a guy from England. I have many friends here. I live in a great city called Liverpool. I married because I love the girl. Uh, Halt should know is that America and England has extradition with each other and always has. I am in and out of this country. I have a mother with dementia. I want to thank these people for doing this over the last 2 years while my family are going through that. One of them knows about it. They're filthy savages and care less. May it never come through their door. I have a stepmother, sadly, maybe about to pass away on Monday. The life support is turned off. I want to thank them for all this. This more reflects on their evil. May it not happen to them. Uh, but no, I had nothing to do with the bullpen. We were really happy about it. We were disappointed that it didn't extend because the entertainment memorabilia business, you got to understand, is very small. These people that are doing this wouldn't know the difference between something owned or signed by Liberace or John Lennon. They would not know the differences in signatures over the years. Liberace consistent, John Lennon changed very much and very often. I understand because I'm an expert on it. There's speed in writing. There's a million things that go into it. I have light screens. I'm not active as much anymore. I deal with a lot of hard property. Like I said, I've dealt with the estates, and very famous people have bought stuff I've brought to the market. So that's wrong. And I'll end this that 3 years ago, I sat on the stand in Crown Court on a major fraud that happened in this country in all kinds of antiques, memorabilia, etc., as a witness for the prosecution. I lost upwards of £70,000 in personal property, items, and future sales because it was stolen, farmed out, and I still have not seen anything back. We won the case. These people are doing time in prison in their 60s. The other one went with another auction house and tried to steal more property from me. I mean, so it's like the Yukon thing. Like sometimes I'm a smart guy, but sometimes I do the biggest dumb fuck things I've ever done. Dealt with them again. You don't. And this guy got away. I found that out. He should join them in prison. But I was awarded a settlement, a substantial financial settlement, as were others, up to 300 people. And I am waiting now from Trading Standards in London. I had police at my house, Trading Standards, copying machines, computers, and it was a joy. I dealt with another guy. I've stopped auctions. I have stopped fraud. Even Sotheby's tried to defraud. I mean, you can't. You have to be careful. But I know enough people. These are low. When you deal with low lives, you get low life results. So a lot of times I can only blame myself in recent years. What they have done is gotten stuck their noses in the things they know nothing about. You have enemies. There's a guitar of mine floating around out there that belonged to Jimi Hendrix. There's a guy out of Texas who was with some Stevie fan club trying to sell it, I guess, and saying I sold it to him. I've never done business with this person in my life. And there's a New York City Police Department stolen property case that's still open, and the guitar keeps popping up, and as soon as people go after it, it disappears. And that's a 66 Strat. It was a gift to Stevie. Stevie died. I still had it in my possession. I knew Stevie Ray Vaughan very well. And you see that there's a certain person that knew enough of this and had the ability, the same person that downloaded all my, including family, pictures and all kinds, and have manipulated everything, truth. And it's all to distract from documents like this, and to take credibility away from people that don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people new to Rendlesham that they don't know, and they're hearing this horrific stuff. I tend to want to meet people and get an idea. I am not in the believe me business, but when you get into my business that I do know, you're fucking around with the wrong guy. And a lot of other people that have a lot of sway that know who you are and don't want you to threaten their livelihoods either. You got to be careful. And so I went the legal way. So they're going to have to adjust to this in court. I can defend everything in court, else I wouldn't have gone forward. It's insulting, it's infuriating, but the agenda is not whether memorabilia is real. I have to say, so I was married to someone. We're not married now. Love the girl still. She stood with me through all this because, believe me, you want to hear bad things about me? You don't know the bad things about me. No one does. The ex-wife will back me if I'm not right. My family will back me if I'm not right. They're going to tell you. I'll tell you. That's all I can say on this matter.
Okay, fantastic reply, Larry. Last couple of questions now.
If not long-winded.
No. Just a slight change of direction here.
I feel like I need a cigarette after all this.
Probably
you, devil. There's such a devil, I'm telling you.
Halt, in his sort of final analysis of your co-author Peter Robbins.
Remember what I said about brotherhood and loyalty? You may not be loyal to me, but I don't know any other way. Go ahead.
He described Peter as being fooled by you, Peter being a liar, Peter being used by you, that Left at Eastgate is a fraud.
Do you want to just do it in like pieces? Because he seems to throw all this out real fast.
Yeah.
And I don't want to miss a single.
Just, in a nutshell, you can come back, but, he says that Peter attached himself to you to keep himself in the limelight, that kind of thing. And ultimately, Peter Robbins, and he used the word, is a coward. How would you like to come back on Peter's behalf?
Peter Robbins, when I met him, wasn't in the limelight. I was. I liked him. He made sense. How I met him's all recounted. I met him first about 35 years ago, hooked up again in 87. I had a different co-author kind of tentatively at that time. Whitley Strieber's the guy that told me I should write a book long before he wrote Communion, folks. See, people understand, I knew Alan Hynek, I knew Jacques Vallée, I knew all of them. I was everyone you name. Most are dead now. I'm from them days. When we were the performing monkey and you couldn't say anything more than lights in the sky. I noticed brave Colonel Halt wasn't out there. Uh, Peter is a man of integrity. He is not a coward. Him and I have had personal issues as any partnership. We are night and day, man. He's from the hippie days in the 60s, left, very left of center. I am more toward the right, but a little bit left, you know. We are very different people with a very similar sense of humor. It's a New York sense of humor. I'm not Jewish, I might as well be. His family, it's not just I knew Peter Robbins, our families know each other. I've been through deaths with them. They've been through tragedies in my family, and Peter and I know each other as brothers. We are not having a good time together right now. You have to understand, like I was saying about people taking other people's anchor with them and trying to carry the cross for other people. It's not easy. You're never going to get it right. We always fought over details. There's many issues. I will not say anything here. But no, Peter isn't a liar. Peter gets things wrong sometimes that I tell him. I get things wrong sometimes. It led to the Yukon thing. Peter is a genuinely good-hearted guy. I think he thinks too much of ufologists, and I think he's better than them, a lot of them. I find them to be, I know a lot of rock stars. I knew many that are no longer here, including John Lennon, and met him. And whether they like it or not, because they never will and never did. Even one of them was telling me how tall, or writing how tall he was. He's 5'10". He was not 5'10". So she pretends to know how fucking tall I am. This is the nuts. I mean, people think I had sex with these people, and they're mad now because of it. But no, he's a good man, and partnerships have their ups and downs. Peter and I should have, I'm happy he needs to go his own way. I don't like any of this, Halt, Peter is a crack shot, too, with a bang bang. Just because he's not a very tall statured guy, he doesn't suffer fools. And I think Halt, basically, in the end, if folks read Halt and Woodbridge, you'll see exactly why Halt made those statements to Peter. As we say in Liverpool, Halt's a total knobhead. And he's a knobhead. You're a knobhead, man. If this, like I said, if this is a hockey game, you're shut out, man. I'm not. Peter wrote in Halt and Woodbridge a great thing when it comes to me. He said, for those of you that may not like Larry Warren, and I have my share of enemies, we all do. I don't think if you don't have enemies, you have them living, If I've done anyone wrong, I try to be contrite about it. I find that's a better battle. But in the end of the day, Peter wrote a great line. I don't have the book here, but it goes something like this in Halt and Woodbridge. You may not like Larry Warren, but, his testimony, although yada yada, stands up. And know this, he probably doesn't like you either. I'm not in the friends business. I got plenty. Facebook friends aren't friends, folks. If you got 4,000, there's 4,000 motherfuckers that could do you harm. Learn that one. I was hacked, lost it. The partner of one of them did that. I've learned. It's the Irish in me. I learned the hard way. So it's been a pleasure. And Peter is still family to me. And I am not, I won't tolerate anyone doing that. So if Peter's a coward, let me put this out and see if Halt's a coward or not. And I respect his military service, Semper Fi, man, but come out and do a polygraph examination by impartial people. I'll do the same. We don't have to be together. Let's get some motherfucker with some money out there instead of putting together these agenda-based TV fucking entertainment shows. Peniston's right when he says it's all entertainment. It is. And it doesn't serve. You sit 4 hours with these people interviewing, and then what comes out in the goddamn television show looks nothing like you told them because it fits a pre-written agenda. And that Nick Pope and all that, you take a lie detector too. Let's see how much you really know. You're a desk jockey. It's all you are. You don't know any classified anything. You never did. Maybe later, but not on UFOs. I know more than Nick Pope does about UFOs. So I've been right next to him. And I didn't need Rendlesham. I've seen plenty. But at the end of the day, let's see who the man is. So let's get some with balls. UFology won't do it because they're just a big circle jerk of people. Remember, folks, I don't care about being a public speaker and all. All I wanted on the circuit, I'm not a researcher. I'm not in ufology. I detest the subject. I'm an advocate for real, authentic witnesses, not people that read communion and then adapt that as the reason for their mental illness, and which is very easy to see. And many people do that. Go get real help. UFOs will make you worse. The ufology will make you worse. And at the end, so I'm not out there to be on all that, but I do believe I have a right to address things. And ufology is the only place I've ever heard that makes these spurious accusations. And because of politics and just, I don't like the guy, he scares me or whatever, you don't get a right of redress. And I appreciate having the opportunity to do it. And I am basically disappointed at the odds of how bad Halt did on this.
So
I didn't have to think. I didn't have to think about nothing on these questions. You didn't see me going. It's embarrassing.
So as a final perspective, we've had Holt's perspective on Larry Warren.
Yeah.
What is Larry Warren's perspective on Colonel Halt?
I respect his service. I know he's an older fella now. I think he's wasted his 77th year of life. I respect him. I think he looks great still, by the way. I don't wish him harm. I thought in this pile of shit, and I'm sorry, I really am, because there are some very good things in here, but they're so minor because you want to spend 35 pounds to have the whole agenda be about Larry. Now, when I got this, I liked this, Colonel Halt in his lederhosen. I don't know if he can yodel or not, but I bet he's damn good at it. And respect to him. His bio went for 21 pages. I thought, I love bios. I want to read about this man. None of the other witness to Rendlesham or Bentwaters. You don't know fuck all about Burroughs' life, Peniston life. All you hear is their agenda, time travel, or John's blowing up in lights, and now I'm a radio host, Howard Stern of ufology. He ain't. Nothing against John. They all have agendas, man. But I wanted to read this man's life and just get some peg on him. I met him and I couldn't figure him out. He was pretty nice on the base. Not saying there were some assholes there. He was all right to me. But he's in wherever he's at with all this, I'll never know. And like I said, his opinion's all right on the incidents. He is totally entitled to it. But he's lying about me. And if I'm so irrelevant, why bring me up? Why let me taint his story? He's 77. None of us got much time. I'm 56. We don't know when we're going. He might outlive all of us, but we don't know. Life is short, and learn that. You can't be burned up in this. You want to put this out, or you hate me, or you didn't make general because of me. I don't believe that person. I think he's disputed that too. Or whatever the reason, put out real things. He just lies and lies. And I hate calling someone a liar, particularly of his service background, which I respect. He's a veteran. I don't know why he does what he really does. I think a polygraph would show it. He won't take it. He'll never do it. I would. I don't think Peniston would, and I know Burroughs won't. I know they won't. It's just I'll bet money on it. So I wanted to read, and all you get in this, and you have John Hanson, an example, another guy that was a policeman. And, I was in the motorcycle world, and he's a cop I would have loved to meet on a speeding ticket because, man, you can't be this naive. Well, there's a picture in here because it's real important to his readers. John Hanson makes that he has a connection with me. I've warned him. He has clearly not read Peter's book. Here's this is only the beginning. I'm trying to review this thing. It's like the Bible of stupidity. I can't do it. There's our book. Thank you. He calls our publisher. I've been on 3 different publishers. He names it, get the book on DiCapo Press. That's a mafia reference. There's no such publisher called DiCapo. There's the agenda, right? It's no mistake. It's on purpose. But here's John. I'll just end on this in Halt's book. Halt's done already. Don and I, this is John Hanson, John and I first met Larry and Peter in Cheltenham, which is true, during 1995 to hear them speak following the launch of their book. Fortunately, we took a photograph with a Polaroid camera, which dates it perfectly. Here's me and the wife he says I scare. You know, me and women, always threatening them. Look how skinny I was. Anyway, in the end, I signed it. It's not Elvis signing that, I did. And I wrote 1997 because our book never came out in 1995. It came out in February 97 in the States, June 97 in England with our English publisher. So when he says it dates it perfectly, that's the context of the book. It's wrong on every count. There's drawings attributed to me in this goddamn book I never drew. And in hand signed Art Wallace, I never used the name. It's not my handwriting. Talk about handwriting. It's disappointment all the way, and I've had 36 public years of this shit. But no one held a gun to my head, and I was warned from the beginning by Betty Andreasen and Bob Luca before I met Larry Fawcett. They put me in touch with Larry Fawcett. If you go forward, as they said, you're going to be attacked. I knew that would be the case. I told Peter when we were researching the book in 87, wandering around the base. I financed the trips over and all that. I said to him, which is transcribed in the book, I said, you know, when this comes out, not even knowing we'd ever get it out, you know, I said, you're going to be attacked too. And he goes, I fully anticipate that. I said, anticipate it. And you can hear the lighter slam shut. I had a nice Zippo. That comes with the territory. No one gets attacked this much unless they got it. This is the federales. They are not going to. You can't kill someone. They could have whacked me early on. You can't do it now. I will even if I'm 98, when I die, the lunatics on the in the conspiracy world or the UFO or Loch Ness monster world, they're going to say, "Oh, they killed him." You know. No, I just smoked too much and dropped dead, and dealt with this too long. The bottom line is, wow, you sometimes get lost for words. You go, this goes on. I am not on trial, and I won't be on trial. Some of these people will be on trial or should be, but better me than some others that couldn't handle it. I'm a veteran. So I wish everyone well. I hope you got something of value out of this, and put a close eye on the messenger. I'm not a messenger. I'm just trying to figure out what happened to me when I was 19. Thanks for the opportunity. And don't smoke.
Thanks, Larry, for sharing that all with us. Much appreciated. We'll catch up soon. I'm going to play us out with one of my favourite tracks now. You take it easy, and we'll chat soon.
Well, thank you, brother. And like I said, I don't call someone brother if they ain't. Thanks.
Take care, man.
Appreciate the opportunity. It's important. Thank you.
My pleasure. We'll chat soon. Cheers, Larry.
I feel better already. Now I have to go forge some memorabilia.
Speak to you later, buddy.
I think I'm going to do Colonel Halt signed pictures or something.
Okay. Take care.
All right, brother.